Good morning. It's the Call Flow Radio Show, and you're on the air.
Well, good morning. Here we are together once again, wrapping up the month of February.
What? It's over already?
I'm afraid so. Yeah, 2 months gone already. How does that happen? How does that happen?
Snuck up on us.
It does. Yeah, it's like a saber-toothed tiger or something. Of course, you can give us a call. We would love to hear from you. 434-394-0924 is the number. And you can give us a call, talk about whatever you would like to discuss. Open mic for our program today. Start as we usually do by looking at some history. Well, 1844. A 12-inch gun aboard the USS Princeton exploded as the ship was sailing on the Potomac River. It would kill Secretary of State Abel Upshur, Navy Secretary Thomas Gilmer, and several others.
I don't know why. I just don't think about them having a Navy back then. I don't know why.
Oh, in the 1800s? Well.
Yeah, you stop and think about it. It's like, oh, yeah. But
we were fighting wars.
So is this cannonballs here? 1844?
Yeah, it would have still been,
How fun.
Cannonballs with charges. So, I have a cannonball.
You do?
Revolutionary War.
You know, there's an episode of Mythbusters. And it was kind of their last episode because, you know, they always go bigger, you know.
Well, that was their idea.
So they were working on something, and apparently they went so big that this cannonball went past their whole safety field, went through a car, into a house, and that's when this show got canceled.
Yeah.
But I want to see that episode so bad.
I wonder if I have to look and see. Maybe it's streaming somewhere.
No, you can't find it.
Oh, they never aired
it?
Oh,
no.
I bet there's some leaked stuff on YouTube or something. Maybe.
Oh, let's hope so.
Yeah. 1849, the California Gold Rush would begin in earnest as regular steamship service started bringing gold seekers to San Francisco.
What's the gold situation in Virginia?
As far as...
Are there mines here? Do you ever go panning or anything like that? Is there an area
there may be
that's
people
known
that
for
do. Well, yeah, there's a vein particularly, which is part of the whole business of this exploration that's been going on, thinking that they can still get some stuff through Buckingham. And I mean, it's a fairly large vein.
I thought I heard some kind of article, but I don't.
Oh yeah,
there
was some very, very successful mining done here.
Have you ever gold pan?
No.
It's fun and backbreaking at the same time. It's one of those things I do with my son. You know, it's another teaching moment.
Yeah, come on, let's go hike into the mountains and see what we can find. Yeah. 1911. We jump to the next century here. President, or then president, I guess I should say, William Howard Taft nominated William Lewis to be the first black assistant attorney general of the United States. In 1953, scientists James Watson and Francis Crick announced they discovered the double helix structure that makes up our DNA.
DNA fascinates me.
The whole concept of just atomic science is just remarkable.
I often think that, you know, you can throw the same DNA out there anywhere in the universe, and it's going to pick up what it can use and make what it can make.
Yep.
And it's never
whatever that may be.
Yeah, and it's going to reproduce and reproduce. That's what it does.
Oh, well, what was that? Neil Tyson. Dr. Tyson, Hayden Planetarium. Always, I love one of his little phrases. He said, the thing we have to remember is that we're not special. He said, the same main compounds that make up us, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, are the same things that make up everything else in the universe.
Yeah.
And he said, but in a sense, we are remarkable because the universe is in us.
That's great.
Which,
It really is. I mean, that teeters on spirituality, right? And
all of his stuff kind of does.
Yeah, well, these days, it's hard to separate some of the fields,
True.
The CERN, the superconductor collider.
Yeah, the Hadron Collider.
Which they built to find the God particle, which I found fascinating because half of the people were like, "Oh, there's going to be one particle. It's just going to be one." The other half they were like, "Oh, it's going to be infinite amount of particles that we can describe." And what happened was it ended up right about in the middle, at 50 or so. I don't remember what it was, but it was like
number.
And
there's,
right.
Yeah, there's the chance with other experiments they would find others.
Oh man, the things they're doing now, they've upped the power. They've suspended a proton for like 2 years now outside of it. That's just amazing. I would love to have gotten into science. It excites me.
It's cool. It's just so fascinating. 1972, President Nixon and Chinese Premier Zhou Enlai issued the Shanghai Communique that called for normalizing relations between the countries, the conclusion of Nixon's historic visit to China. 75, 42 people killed in London's underground when a train would smash into the end of a tunnel. The brakes on it would give up. 96, Princess Diana would agree to divorce Prince Charles. Their 15-year marriage officially would end in August of 96. Of course, she would die in that car crash in Paris just a year later.
Wow. That was quite the event there.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Did you see the documentary on her?
I've seen some. There's so many.
Well, the one I saw recently, it was strange because it was really more about her, the younger age and before any of the other.
Oh, okay.
Or how the tragedy kind of got to be. But, no, it's good. I mean, if you get a chance to see it, I would recommend it.
Well, it's so happy, fascinating the way a lot of that happened. And particularly, some of the underhandedness that was done. Mm-hmm. To both of them, creating more tension than there already was, even after the divorce. Lies.
Yeah, it's always some kind of sensationalism with that family.
Well, and even before they were married, the Spencers had their own drama. She wasn't this poor little country girl.
Oh, that's the name of it, actually, Spencers.
So it's based on her family.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. 2009, the great Paul Harvey, news commentator and talk radio pioneer whose style made him one of the nation's most familiar voices, would die at his home in Phoenix, 90 years old.
And that's the rest of the story.
Still miss hearing him on air. I loved Paul Harvey.
Yeah, you couldn't not.
No, it was brilliant. And the great thing was I still have a couple books. They would publish those rest of the stories and put them out in book form that you could buy.
I would have bought that.
Cool.
Definitely.
I think there's 3
We should
volumes.
start that. We should start it out. It's probably syndicated or something.
Yeah, well, no, the copyright might still be out there. Morning, you're on the air. Oh, I thought I saw the flash. I guess maybe I'm seeing things. Maybe I'm seeing things there. I don't know. Let's see. What else? 2018, Walmart announced it would no longer sell firearms and ammunition to people under 21 and would remove items resembling assault-style rifles from its website. Dick's Sporting Goods would stop selling assault-style rifles and ban the sale of any gun to anyone under 21. And we'll wrap up just 10 years ago. 2013, that was Pope Benedict XVI would become the first pope in 600 years to resign, ending an 8-year pontificate. He was, of course, succeeded the following month by Pope Francis. He has since, of course, passed away. So now I know I see the light that time. Morning, you're on the air.
Good morning. Can I put my daughter's birthday on that today, Chris?
Yeah, sure.
Penny Schumacher from Prince Edward.
Okay. And that is actually today. She's not one of those 29 birthdays. Okay.
No. Her birthday is today, the 28th.
All right.
And I want to tell you this story. When she was born on the 28th, was a Friday. And the first day of March came 23 inches of snow when I had her all these years ago.
Oh,
So-
boy.
And then when I had my other daughter, it was born the 10th, Tammy, it came 10 inches of snow. So when I went back in the hospital, the little nurse told me, said, don't you come back in here anymore because all you do is bring snow. And I'd laugh until I said, I hope for that I'll never come back. And thank God I never did. So y'all have a good day.
You too.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Snow babies. Snow babies. That's what they are. Oh, let's see. How about some celebrity birthdays for today? The brilliant architect Frank Gehry is 94 today. Singer Sam Nasham, leader of the Pharaohs, 86. Tommy Tune, actor, director, and dancer, Broadway star, 84 today. Hall of Fame auto racer, got to meet him, Mario Andretti.
Really? You met him,
80.
huh?
Met him and his son at,
What were they like?
very nice. Signed programs for me. Wasn't
Cool.
know? Yeah, it was one of the Indy races when they were still doing Indy races at Richmond, and of course, it was Mario's grandson who was racing at the time and had pit pass and was down there and got him to sign the program. Mario happened to be there. And I was like, oh my god.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Do you-
being a Formula One fan, that was a big deal. For
Oh, you are.
Oh, yeah.
My lead engineer from Shanghai loved Formula
One?
Yeah, so when he visited, I'd take him out to the racetracks out there, the Formula One.
Season starts this week.
So you're a big race fan.
Open wheel. I am a big race fan of, for me, what I call real racing.
Oh yeah,
Formula One, Indy, rally.
not just the left-hand turn type of thing.
No. To me, that's just going in a circle.
Well, that's because
I mean-
it's going in a circle
Well, and it had
for hours.
NASCAR has its massive fans. I think the history of NASCAR is more interesting itself than the racing. But I also think, my personal feeling is, most of the people who go to NASCAR races only go waiting for a crash. They're not
yeah.
actually interested in the race itself per se. But I'm sure they have people that are. It just does, that's the feel that comes from it.
Do you get pit passes very often?
I haven't for years. I did when the Indy race was in Richmond. I think I went out, maybe it was 1 year, but I always got extra and went for a pit pass so I could be down in pit lane.
Yeah, it's fun in the pit.
Used to love it.
I got to be in a pit it was drag racing.
Well, that's
so
cool.
my boss at the VA had a dragster. So he won. I was in college at the time, a film major,
Oh,
and
wow.
so I'm like, "Hey, I'll make a documentary of you and your, which got
Yeah.
me down on the racing.
Down
It
on
was
the track.
great. It was
That
great.
was cool. Now,
Yeah.
I'd never only been down the pits for Indies and sprint racing. So,
Fun.
yeah.
Good old days.
They really are. It's open wheel racing is fascinating. Who else here? Actress Kelly Bishop, 79. Actress Stephanie Beacham is 76. Actress Mercedes Ruehl turns 75. Bernadette Peters, also 75.
She's-
Wonderful actress, singer, performer.
Wow. I bet she's got a very high IQ. That's my guess.
Probably. Yeah, you would feel that she probably does. Nobel Prize winner, economist Paul Krugman turns 70 today. Actor and director, it should say, John Turturro is 66. Been in some very good films. Always plays quirky people, but been in some good films. Rocker Cindy Wilson, 66 as well. Actress Rae Dawn Chong. She was really hot and in a lot of films for a while there, and then you haven't seen much of her. She's 62 today. Actor Robert Sean Leonard, 54. Most people will probably remember him from House. Of course, his first film, Dead Poets Society.
Oh.
With Robin Williams, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant film.
It was.
Brilliant film.
I love him. Well, and I didn't know you're talking he was House, right?
No.
Oh, okay. Who's
No, that was
Sorry.
Hugh Laurie.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
Robert Sean Leonard was the other doctor who's his best friend.
Okay.
Yeah. That
I'm
was,
not good at names.
That was him.
Fred.
No, Hugh Laurie, of course, who you will hear sometimes on my Saturday show, is a brilliant piano player, comedic, one half of the comic team of Fry and Laurie, Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie, went to school or university, I technically should say, and was part of the original university comedy troupe that was made up of Emma Thompson and Kenneth Branagh, Stephen Fry, Hugh Laurie.
How fun.
Brilliant group of individuals. Who else here? Actress Allie Lartner, 47 today. Country singer Jason Aldean, he turns 46. Relief pitcher Aroldis Chapman, 35 today. Actor Quinn Shepard, 28. So there you go. We'll look at some celebrity birthdays for the day. Well, good news for all you narcoleptic folks. It's National Public Sleeping Day.
Oh, yeah. Now we're talking.
Fall asleep on the bus, miss your stop. Fall asleep at your desk. Yeah, if the boss comes and beats on the desk, you can say, hey, it's
actually a good thing.
It's National Public
After
Sleeping
lunch,
Day.
take a nap. It's actually so
a lot of cultures
good
do it.
for your productivity. In China, they do it. In Mexico, they do it.
Yeah.
We should-
Spain, Portugal, France.
It's just amazing how many studies are coming out of these places like Norway, where they're working 4 days a week, and and how much more productivity they're getting out of people rather than
shorter
treating them
work
like,
week, longer day.
Yeah.
With that break in between.
Oh, I wish we could take that.
It's also National Floral Design Day. So kudos to all our local floral designers, many of them award-winning designers.
I heard
at
the
Roche's, Carter's.
Yeah, Carter's Flower Shop. I think that one's for sale.
It's been for sale.
For a while.
For a while now.
A friend of mine, Amish lady, was thinking about buying it because she does flowers. I used to take her down to the farmer's market. They have beautiful flowers. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
But, no, just didn't kind of
Didn't pan out. The last day of February is also Rare Disease Day. That's really a celebration just here in the U.S., not necessarily an international one. It's to bring awareness and education to all types of rare diseases, and, of course, those that deal with them. Like I said, it's always the last day, so sometimes it's even the 29th if you have.
Because my first reaction to that was, that's going a little too far. But
the national. Oh, wow.
You're really reaching for that one.
Yeah. It's a lot of things today. It's also National Pancake Day, or IHOP Day, as some people call it.
I love my pancakes.
You got to have breakfast for dinner, have some pancakes. Yeah. It's World Spay Day. Help keep the animal population in check by spaying
That
your
reminds
pets.
me. Somebody called the other day and asked if we were still doing lost pets.
We are. We just have not received any.
I actually received one, but I didn't know that that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
But
Lost and Found Pets is done in the 10 o'clock hour, at the top of the hour there. Yep.
She found a hunting dog, basically. It sounded like the exact dog that blessed our home.
Well, it could have been.
Well, and we fed him, That may have been a problem there.
Never get rid of him now. It's National Tooth Fairy Day. So
Did you get paid?
Well, it was always change back in my day.
Yeah.
Kids now, it's like $5. I'm thinking, $5?
Here, take them
You
all.
never get that much on the open market for that enamel. Enamel's not that valuable.
That's right.
And it's National Chocolate Souffle Day. So if pancakes weren't enough for dinner, you can then have chocolate souffle for dessert. All the things we celebrate today. It's a busy day here, the end of
We're going to be eating a lot.
end of February. Gaining a lot of weight. Whatever that case may be. Of course, like I say, it's open mic day today. Give us a call whether you want to talk about pancakes, chocolate souffle, or whatever. 434-394-0924 is, of course, the number to call. Now, China, of course, has come out. The whole thing that with TikTok now.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, the government banning it from any government devices, so on. China has come and said that the U.S. government ban on the sharing app TikTok reflects on Washington's own insecurities and actually says it's an abuse of state power.
I agree.
Yeah. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said the U.S. should stop suppressing the company, provide an open, fair, and non-discriminatory environment TikTok is used by 2/3 of American teens. Of course, there's been concern in Washington that began with some ludicrous statements a few years ago that China is using it to obtain private data, push misinformation and narrative favoring on China. Of course, if we banned every country that does business in the U.S. that has headquarters in China, you would lose a lot of them, including your Walmart.
Exactly.
Because their main office is actually
a
in China.
symbiotic relationship with them.
I mean, regardless of the feelings. And, China's got its own spine and stuff, just like we do.
Exactly.
It's like
do you have TikTok
country.
on your phone?
I do.
Yeah. Did you get it right when they said they're going to ban it? So
Yes.
you went and got
I did.
I mean,
I am one of those people that when our former president came out and said that this is a horrible thing and they were going to do away with it, I said, that's a reason enough for me to have it.
I was in the same boat.
I can't say I use it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do anything, but the government is not going to tell me you can't have this app on your phone. Well, guess what?
We aren't stubborn
Even
people.
if I never use it, I now am getting it.
You just described exactly what happened to me and Alicia.
I'm sure it happened with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't know. The idea that the government thinks that it has the authority to say you can't have that app on your phone, or you can't read that book, you can't watch that movie. Who the hell are you to tell me what I can and can't do in my own private home?
Not only that, every time you get that little message, we've got cookies, you have to accept your cookies.
Yeah.
All those cookies are tracking all your information all the time. So if you banned every app that tracked your information, there would literally be no apps.
Pretty much. Well, what's so funny is you've got this massive panic about TikTok. Yet it's no different than Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. I mean, nobody thought that, Facebook would help spur genocide, but it did. Nobody thought that when Instagram first came around, that it would spur, but it did. I mean, it's like so many other things. It's not the thing itself. It's how it's used.
Good point. Very good point.
I always have described the cell phone in general, and most technology falls into this spectrum, of being like fire. Mm-hmm. It's a brilliant and fantastic human resource, but it will kill you if you, abuse it.
Right.
And, I don't need the government to step in and tell me how to protect myself and how I should be safe. I'm a grown adult, and I've made it through more than half my life with fairly small amounts of scars and dents and damage in my human body.
You're lucky.
So, to me, I use the word audacity.
I love that.
That the government thinks it knows what's best for me. The two words I have for the government, I can't say on air.
I love the word audacity.
It just
Did
drives
you
me
read
nuts.
Barack Obama's book?
No,
The Audacity of Hope.
No. There are very few political bio/autobiographies I've ever read because I don't care what they think.
I agree.
Is my opinion.
Wholeheartedly, but that was one that
was a good
for
book.
some reason, my father-in-law said, hey, this is a really good book.
Yeah.
And he was right. It was, oh my God.
And some of them are very well written. I
don't know. Brock is so in tune.
But that's a great, a great topic here. We're going to have to break and do our weather and birthdays. But I would love to hear from our listeners out there. Maybe I am taking too high a ground on this thing, in my personal opinion. And, if you disagree with me, that's cool. Would love to hear from it. Or maybe you say, hey, no, you know what? I think the government is too intrusive already. And even because to me, this is where the intrusion starts, are these stupid little things. I don't want the government having anything to do with anything on the internet whatsoever. I don't trust them.
Did you buy all the banned books?
I have always read banned books.
Exactly.
And I fight for them, even if I won't read them. Yeah. 50 Shades of Grey, I would never even consider reading in my life. But don't you dare take it off of my library bookshelf. You don't have that right.
Exactly.
It's my right to choose not to read it. But anyway, we come back. We would love to hear your thoughts on these whole things. But we've got a break right now. So let's do our goodies, and then we will take the calls. It is 8:33. Let's look at our weather here. Well, they're still saying the patchy fog up until about 9 this morning, so that must be in just really low-lying areas, but be aware of it. Otherwise, mostly sunny today, highs in the low 70s, west winds 8 to 11 miles an hour. Clear this evening, lows right around 40 degrees. Sunny tomorrow, highs back in the low 70s. Now, Wednesday night is when the rain should come in. 60% chance of rain moving in the early morning with lows in the low 50s. Thursday, it's 40% chance of rain showers throughout the morning. Partly sunny, highs in the mid-70s. Thursday night, it's a 90% chance of rain. That is expected to start back and go all through your evening into the early morning hours, and rain on Friday, too. Still 90% chance. At least a little warm. Friday should be highs in the upper 50s. Right now, humidity is still 100%. Barometer pretty steady, 29.62 inches. Wind has died back a little bit. It's still out of the southwest, but now we're about 5 miles an hour. Otherwise, mostly sunny out there, and we're now looking at 48 degrees here outside of the WFLO studios. All right, we've got birthdays and anniversaries for you. Of course, it's the 28th, but we know some folk on the 29th, so we'll give you those names as well. Larry, who we got, man?
Let's see here. You know, we just got that call for Penny Shoemaker,
Yeah.
so happy birthday to her, just in time. Thanks,
That's
Mom.
right, yeah.
Nate Odin Lloyd, happy birthday. Brian Coates, happy birthday
Brian,
to you.
happy birthday.
And Jake Banton, happy
And those
birthday.
are all today.
Well, and you know, so there's a lady here,
Yeah.
Wanda Williams, and her birthday's on the 29th. So she's probably really young. She only has a birthday every 4 years,
That's
right?
true.
We also have an anniversary here. I always love the
For today?
anniversaries. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's Lowry and Nancy Caldwell.
For
Actually,
today. Okay.
have some friends by the
That's
same
sweet.
name.
And all those folks are Crew Burkeville area. So we wish them very happy celebration on this day, or the leap day, if that be the case. They can celebrate it today and tomorrow, or half and half. Who knows what they do? It's your prerogative. Celebrate your birthday, anniversary, however you want to. We hope you have a fantastic one, whether we know it or not. Remember, if you want to get those names on the list, email them to birthdays@wflo.net. You can also mail them. That's 217 West 3rd Street, Suite 2, of course, Farmville, 23901. We'll get that name out there and tell everybody about it. All right, let's get back to the phones here. Morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Chris. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Just a comment. Yes, the government knows too much already. Too intrusive.
Yeah.
I agree with that, 100%. I have a question for Larry.
Yeah.
Where was he stationed?
Where was I stationed? I was stationed at Miramar, which is in San Diego. That's the Top Gun spot.
Okay, gotcha. I know where that is because I went to A school.
Oh, great. What was your billet?
I was a radioman. I was stationed down here in Norfolk, but when you were talking about your hours, it reminded me of mine. We worked 2 12-hour days, 24 off, 2 12-hour nights, 96 hours off.
It was an amazing experience. How was yours?
I loved it. I was dumb. It got out too early.
Yes, I think the same thing. I wish I had known some of the things back then that I know now. But, yeah, it was. I think it was one of the best experiences in my life. So, were you Navy?
Yes, I was Navy. I was a radioman. That rank doesn't even exist anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They combined, from what I understand, seamen, which was telecommunications, with radiomen, which were like messaging communications.
Oh, okay.
So I believe so. But that was my comment. Yes, the government way too intrusive.
Well, it's interesting. We always think about this stuff with the government, but big business falls into that same. I mean, like Larry was talking about with the cookies and tracking. I always think it's funny. I'll hear people who say, I was looking up mattresses, or I was just thinking about a mattress, and all of a sudden I'm getting all these ads. Well, somewhere you did a Google search or or something that opened a cookie, and that's why you're inundated. It's not magic. Nobody's spying on you. It's the technology and the way it's created.
Exactly. I'll tell you something that happened yesterday. Somebody had posted about a house for sale in Buckingham, and I wanted to look at the pictures of it because it's a $669,000 house.
Wow.
So I went to go look at the pictures, and it was telling me I had to sign up in order to look at the pictures. So I sent the man a message, and I'm like, I shouldn't have to sign up just to look at pictures.
Absolutely.
So finally he messaged me back and said, oh, the website was just down. Try it now. So I did try it then, and then I was able to look at the pictures.
Okay.
How many times do we have to sign up? I feel like I have to sign up every time I go anywhere. I mean, it's just the way it is. Even here, to the Farmville Herald, you can't actually look at the Farmville Herald unless you sign up for it.
Yeah, sign up. I'd rather have a paper copy of that, though.
Yeah. It's good to line your birdcage with if necessary.
That's right. Well, thank you both. You have a great day.
Oh,
You too.
All right.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye. Oh, yeah.
I love colors.
Well,
Absolutely love them.
like I said the other day, that's part of what makes the whole thing work.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be. It's an interaction. It has to be an interaction.
Well, it's just so amazing. I mean, this station, something really amazing about this station is that it serves the community, and so I like that. And so let's see, what else do we have on?
Well, that's kind of been, that really has always been the focus of Call Flow. When Gene Ike started all those years ago, it was so that there was a place for community forum where, not just for guests to come in and present information or update the public on things that are going on, but for listeners to have a place to call and ask kind of questions and voice their feelings and voice their opinion. And that's what makes it work.
And what about some ideas for guests, too? I mean, that would be great if they would say, hey.
We'd love to hear from so-and-so.
Right,
and, then you can reach out. And that doesn't even necessarily take us. If they're, I've always said if you're, an official out there or something who wants to come on, just let us know. But the listeners could very easily go to their representatives or go to whomever and say, hey, you should contact the radio station about, bringing whatever to light to the public.
Yeah. I would think that there's like so many things going on at Longwood and, things like that they might want to promote or disseminate information. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's a tremendous amount with all the different departments and stuff that go on at Longwood. I think one of the hardest parts for Longwood, same thing, it probably happens with Hampton Sydney, is those professors, they've got the class. They got class and stuff, during the day at 8 o'clock in the morning. So it's very difficult to usually get them in. You got to be planned ahead of time. Makes it a little tough, but. Anyway, a different subject. If you're a Rocky fan, have you continued following after basically they weren't Rocky movies anymore and it was Adonis Creed? The follow-on ones.
What was I thinking? Gag Me with a Spoon. I'm sorry. I find them all ludicrous.
I was always impressed with the first film.
Yeah, you had to be because it was original.
Well, it was original. You had some really good portrayals in there. Of course, Burgess Meredith. You can't go wrong. But it was kudos too for what Stallone had done with really no kind of understanding or background. But then everything after there kind of got a little ludicrous. It was a lot like The First Blood. Brilliant book, great first movie. And then we go into the realm of fantasy. But without Rocky with of course Rocky as out of the picture, Adonis Creed will return in Creed 3. Wow. Michael B. Jordan comes back. So not only is he starring, but he is directing. Yep, the legacy boxer, now in retirement. The film, which pits him against a friend from the past, Dame, plays more like a thriller than a kind of sports film at certain times. In a recent review, one of the first out from the Associated Press, film writer Lindsay Barr said, quote, "It's a promising debut for Jordan as behind the camera, and it shows that he'll never let his own star ego get in the way of the film."
Oh, I wish we could hear that more
Yeah.
often.
Jonathan Majors, who plays the role of Dame, supposedly steals the show, and Jordan does the right job as director in capturing it and not putting him into the background. So that opens this Friday. That's your film coming out this Friday. We'll see if his steam is still there. I know the first two have done pretty well.
Yeah. I guess people are going to have to choose between this and the Cocaine Bear.
Oh, unless they saw that last weekend when it came out.
So this is this weekend.
Yeah, this is this week. It's the only film released this week. As far as I know, I don't think there is another film that is coming out this week. No, looks like that is the only one. It's only gotten a PG-13 rating, and that's obviously because of the intense violence in the ring. That they, material inappropriate for children under the age of 13, as they classify.
Which is interesting in and of itself. Do you find? I think it's changing a little bit. That, they seem to allow a lot more violence than they do any sexuality type of stuff. Like kids. It's okay for kids to see violence, but it's not okay to see some nudity. I think that's changing a little bit. Heaven forbid there's love and caring.
Yeah, I think probably a little that's true. You do seem to see. I don't know if it's necessarily violence in itself, or it is kind of like a perception of violence through the over-the-top explosion kind of deal.
Yeah, the perpetual action that wears you out, like Born Identity. Do you remember how exhausted you were after you saw that? Did you see it?
Yeah.
Because of the editing in there. So
your
that
brain quick cut jumping handheld camera style.
And your brain has to fill in all those blanks. So, have you tried to just find something on TV that's not violent? I mean, there's stuff out there, but it's a small amount of things.
No, there's a lot out there. You just have to know what you're looking for.
Well, yeah, I guess it's got to be good, too.
Those algorithms also play a part, like we were talking about, in that, you watch one or two, and now the algorithm says, oh, this is what this person likes. And so your suggestions now all become Michael Bay.
Yeah. For some reason, I looked up caterpillars the other day, and you can actually buy caterpillars. And they will, I found that out. Through advertisement.
Feed them and watch them pupate and become butterflies.
Metamorphosis. What a great process.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Oh, yeah, it was a book, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Did they make that into a movie?
They did.
Okay.
An independent film that was...
Sounds familiar.
Okay.
Yeah.
The title's probably been used for other things, as you can't copyright a word. So, I mean...
You can try.
You can try.
That reminds me of something.
What,
I don't know why.
A word?
My brain. So in Arizona, I was born and raised in Arizona.
Right.
And Pac Bell was their telephone company. Somebody took their little bell and they copyrighted it and then sold it back to Pac Bell for like $2 million. It was like they had no choice. I mean, because they would have had to change everything.
Well, in the early days of the internet, there were people that were smart enough to go out there and buy up all these domain names, Coca-Cola.com, Pepsi.com, before the companies. Well, they can only exist once.
Yep.
So you have the option of not being .com, of being .org, .net, whatever, or buying it from whoever happens to own it. own that domain, and some people made some pretty good cash off of that.
Do you ever go into like GoDaddy or anything to look for how many domains do you have? Do you have any?
I just have one.
Just one?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got 3 or 4. I don't know.
I don't need them.
Every time I
go in there and see what's available.
But it's fun to go in there and do some research of what's available and what's not.
Well,
available.
it's so funny. I mean, it's not so much now because the beer companies have kind of caught on and tried to buy up and clean all these so they can just redirect. But back in the early days of the internet, if you went to like Disney.com, it was not the website you were thinking you were going to see.
What was it?
Yeah, it was.
Was it a different Playhouse?
It was a very adult website. And they did that because they knew, hey, Disney's going to want, and of course they did, and that's how but some people made some very big money.
Yeah.
In the early days of the net, hedging those bets.
I still want to take advantage of one of those opportunities, like that's
just
AOL. I mean, I had friends that just made a fortune in AOL. What is it, Bitcoin? Yeah, there's another one I missed out on.
I haven't heard of many people who have actually made money with any of the cyber currencies.
Yeah.
You hear talk, it's valued at that, but you have nowhere to spend it, and no one's given you that money for it. So do you really have that money?
Yeah, exactly.
Something is only worth what someone is willing to pay you for it.
Yeah.
You can claim whatever you want.
I mean, the concept of cryptocurrencies is really, really good. There's just a privacy in it. But I'm not finding much privacy in it anymore because it's being traded just like cash in a lot of ways. So it kind of removes the autonomy of it.
Yeah, it's become something, I think, wholly other than the initial intent.
Yeah. Everybody's got their...
Well, and there's so many now, and the bubble has kind of burst already.
Especially with this latest,
we're seeing
adventure.
more and more issues. It's gone down and changing very drastically.
I remember what happened to me. It wasn't long ago. I have Soul's Expression Art as a domain, and so I was looking it up to see, if I could get the domain. They told me it was worth $1,000. I'm like, yes, but who's going to pay me $1,000?
No.
They wanted me to pay me for the...
Yeah, you pay you to have it. That's kind of the whole business of it. And how important is it that you are .com as opposed to .net or whatever, or that, it's, as you would say, soul expression or soul-expression or soul dot. How much is that one little character change of worth to you?
It can be a lot.
Yeah.
Although my domain back in California was a little long, so the name of my store was Man Cave Imagination Center, which I thought was a great name.
Yeah, but that's a little long for a web domain.
It was. Nobody could find it.
Yeah. Simplicity is the key to the internet.
Now you tell me.
Sorry. Well, I'd have told you then if I knew you then, but I've never been to California.
Really?
No.
Sorry.
No. Never been that side of the Mississippi.
Everybody should go someday.
One day. One day. There are things I would love to see.
Yeah. I think there's
not as much as I'd like to go east.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. I'd much rather go back to the places in Europe I have yet to be before I'd go to California.
That's the thing. I've traveled around the world, and now I feel like there's places in the United States that I really need to go see. But like going down to Miami last week, that was kind of a bucket list for me to see Miami.
Never
been. Yay! I love living on the East Coast for that purpose.
Got some friends in Miami.
Exploring.
Miami's an interesting place. It's an interesting. Not that I'm not a fan of Florida. But Miami is still an interesting place. Yeah. Speaking of Florida, Governor DeSantis signed a bill that gives him control of Walt Disney World's self-governing district, punishing the company because, of course, they opposed his insane Don't Say Gay law. The bill requires DeSantis to appoint a 5-member board to oversee what essentially is the government services that Disney District actually provides. So Disney, for years, Disney has so much property, they almost had their own internal government and services, just like a government would have to handle any other city.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, so basically, Florida governor has taken over, and I don't think he has any idea of what he's really getting into here. So now it's going to be up to the Florida taxpayer to foot all of that money that Disney has been putting out. The governor signed the legislation Monday. Now, the move, of course, comes as he gears up for what's expected to be a presidential run, marking a high-profile legislative victory for him, who, of course, has leveraged culture and political divides and pushed him into the fore of some Republican politics.
Is that kind of a lesser of two evils type of thing? Or?
Well, I guess I don't know what the other evil is you're in reference to, but I've always taken the position that the lesser of two evils is still evil. And so there's a third choice, or I'll make a third choice. But
right. It just sounds like so much noise to me. So much.
Well, that's usually what
noise.
Politics is just noise, sound, and fury meaning nothing.
Yeah. I wish we could just turn it off. That would be great.
You can. There's this button on your TV.
Yeah.
Just off.
I don't see any on TV because I stream everything. I don't have.
Well,
any
you can
live
still turn the TV. Oh no, yeah, I don't. Unless
I
I
don't
choose
get
to
that.
watch a news program.
Yeah. The only time I get it is if you go on the computer and show it to me.
Oh, well. And that's because that's part of my job. Like it or no, if I had my choice, I wouldn't want to talk much politics at all. But you need to. You can't just ignore it. It's not feasible. You cut down on it. You find the right resources. You do your research and your homework and whatnot. But you can't shove your head in the sand.
Nope.
I mean, you do that and you just become part of that problem.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
It really is.
Well, it's the whole part of the democratic side of our democratic republic that we have. That's the democracy side as opposed to the republic side, which is your Congress and whatnot. You've got to be informed to make the decisions to put the right people in place to contain and hold on to your republic.
What? I thought you just I thought you just voted for like your party. Isn't that what we're supposed
that is the misconception of many people. But by doing that, the Democratic side doesn't come into play.
Do you remember going to the candidates and looking at what they believe and everything like that? I remember those good old days.
I still do. I do that, and more importantly, my main asset when I look at a candidate is how have you voted in the past? Whether you were a governor, whatever your position was. Yeah. I look at the issues that came before you and how did you vote? What that tells me what you're really going to do. Because what you can tell me anything. Right. That doesn't actually answer any questions.
So you actually vote by or partisan? I mean, you'll vote for both parties?
I vote for both parties. I voted for third-party candidates because my research said to me this is the better choice. Again, the lesser of two evils is still evil.
Isn't that supposed to be how it is, Wow.
Well, different people have different ideas on how they look at the process. For me, I'm a constitutionalist. I believe that's the law of the land, and that supersedes any law that Congress makes, any decision that comes out of the Supreme Court. I go back to that. And if what they say doesn't side with that, then I don't accept your decision, your whatever. I understand it may be the law by legal standards, and so I will adhere to a certain. But beyond that, no, because you're going against the Constitution, which is the law of the land, and that supersedes, as far as I'm concerned, any law that. I mean, it's right there. It's right there in the document that Congress can't make any law that infringes on the rights. So if you do, guess what? the Constitution supersedes you and that law, and I'd be more than happy to go to court over that. Not that I could afford to go to court, but I'd be more than happy to.
Chris Bershon versus U.S. government. I can see it now.
No,
watch out, U.S. government.
I would probably just take the easy road out and just say, okay, fine, bye.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Yeah.
I'll go somewhere where human rights aren't infringed if it ever gets that bad.
Where would you go?
I don't know. There's several places in mind.
Yeah.
Several places.
You kind of look at Norway.
The Scandinavian countries really aren't particularly appealing.
They've done a lot for their people, you know, and they're designed and thoughtful about how it affects their people.
Yeah. Well, Norway has, Finland has, the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Not that the Netherlands is technically a Scandinavian country, but in any case. Yeah,
Beautiful.
But it comes down to the people. It comes down to us. We complain all we want to about Congress. Well, we're the ones that put them in there.
Yeah.
And keep putting some of the same people back in. Now, granted, I will say in some cases, your only other option is not to vote. They're getting in there because there's no competition. No one's running against them. So sometimes you really don't have the option you should have. But that goes back to what we talked about before about how it's become a job as opposed to a civic duty, which is what it used to be. So sad. Anyway, hate to end on a sad note, but there it is.
It looks like it's beautiful outside.
It is. I mean, the sun has come. It's gorgeous. We got this is the nice calm before the storm, so to speak.
I can see blue sky even coming out of the house this morning.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad.
No,
I got away with a light jacket.
Not at all. Oh, hey, real quick before we got to go, if you are someone who has a Nissan, particularly one of their small SUVs. There's a defect. There's a recall of over 800,000 Nissan. So check with your dealer because your car may be in the recall. The engines will cut off. The key won't cut off the engine, and it can cause problems.
Wow.
So be aware of that, folks. Talk to you tomorrow. 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 Folks. Talk to you tomorrow.